This is David Babinski. We get asked constantly, what should I be doing right now? So I thought I would get Ben on the Zoom here and we would hit record and just go through some of the thoughts that we put together on literally what we should be doing right now. This is really based on our experience. We're in the same exact boat and we've done these things for ourselves and for our companies. So one of the things that comes immediately to mind is you need to apply for these loans. We have separate content about the EIDL loan, the economic injury disaster loan, as well as the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP. But the first thing you need to do is assess how much do you need and get the applications in. Right, Ben?
Exactly. So the EIDL loan is directly with the SBA. You can do that right online. The basic application is pretty simple. It will ask for details on your sales the last couple of years, number of employees, basic stuff. Once you submit, you become eligible for the $10,000, up to $10,000 non-repayable advance. However, that will not be distributed until a loan officer is assigned to your case. And you will know that when that loan person contacts you by the email that you left. So for instance, both Dave and I, for our businesses, we applied for EIDL March 29th or 30th. But we still have not gotten an email from the SBA assigning us a loan officer. So there's no, you're not going to get 10,000 in 3 days. That's just the reality. And then if you're going to go for the payroll protection program, you can do that also, but that's directly with a bank. Most likely your existing bank is offering the program, but we have found that a lot of the large banks are really clogged up with applications. So you may consider finding a smaller online bank. And that's one of the resources that we are offering to our members is we have developed, some of those relationships.
That's right. Some of the national banks I read, you needed to be a current business banking customer, you needed to have a current business loan with them, and you needed to have a credit card. So they're basically taking their most profitable customers first and telling everyone else to get in line. So we put here, before you actually apply with that bank, ask them if they're actually funding. Some banks are throwing you into a queue. You could only apply for one PPP loan. So if you go into a bank that's a week or 2 or 3 behind and you really need that money to meet payroll, just simply ask them, are you funding right now or are you taking applications to put into a queue?
Yeah, don't make the mistake of just running to your bank, applying, and then if there's a delay, the SBA will not allow you to switch the application to another bank. Once you're with the bank, you're stuck with that bank.
So it's very important to know that they're actually funding. So now we've applied for loans. We're in the queue. We're letting that kind of percolate. The most important thing for me is to keep your cash, right? We have to know, what's going. So how do we keep our cash? Well, the first thing that the Act allowed for is to defer payment of your payroll taxes. So if you've got employees, when you do run your payroll, there's going to be the amount that goes net to the employee, but then there's going to be the withholding. You withhold, the employee withholds some. As far as the Act is written, you can hold that in your own account and use it because it's not going to be due, what is it, 50% next year and 50% in 22, right, Ben?
So yeah, the next tax year. So 2021, you'd have to pay half of that deferred amount. In 2022, the other half.
Again, 30,000 feet, they're trying to just inject cash into the system as fast as possible. Obviously, money you've already withheld that you don't have to send. So get with your payroll company and make sure that they know that you want to hold on to that. Now, if you're flush with cash and you don't need to, and it's a little bit of a accounting headache, you could keep making those payments, but you are allowed to hold back those payments that, one thing the IRS, you never want to fool around with payroll withholding. That's ingrained in everyone. Here's one instance though, where they're allowing us to do it. Another way you could keep your cash is the Small Business Debt Relief Program. Basically, the SBA said if you've got a current 7A, a microloan, some of those other loans, they're actually going to cover the payments. That's principal and interest. Make the payment for you until the end of the year.
Yeah, that's really good stuff right there. You may have had a 504 real estate loan. Any of those SBA special loans are getting deferment.
Right, and they're actually making the payments. Now, if you have a disaster loan, like say we're here in Florida, say you're hit with the hurricane and you took a disaster loan, they're not actually, they specifically said if you already have a disaster loan, they're not making those payments, but you are allowed to defer, right? You can defer those until the end of the year. Now, you need to know where your money is, right? So you've basically kept your cash. Now you're going to look at everything that you have that needs to go out and categorize it. You're going to have a list of bills due that you must pay. I mean, there's just certain things you have to pay, right? You need to keep the internet on, for instance, right? Everyone's stuck at home. Like you can't do something where they're going to do something like that. And then you want a list of things you'd like to pay, right? You want to keep vendor relationships. You want to, just maintain certain things, but maybe those will be on the chopping block if cash starts to run tight. And then there's going to be a list of things, candidly, that can wait. There's certain things that can wait. But, now really is the time to put together a budget and know where every penny is and where it's going to be going. Because we don't know if there's going to be income coming in before these loans fund, right, Ben?
Exactly.
So now with that said, and I'll let you take this, you definitely do want to communicate with your vendors and your creditors. Just proactive communication is the key.
Exactly. If you're running out of cash and you can't pay your bills, please contact your creditors. You'd be surprised. They're human beings. They're challenged too. People are being very lenient right now. So it's important to communicate. Don't just stop paying. Don't stop paying your rent. Don't stop paying your credit cards. Don't stop paying your electric bill, for goodness sakes, and things like that. Make sure you contact them and get an agreement of some sort. Now, if you can't actually memorialize that in a written contract signed by both sides, at a very minimum, send a follow-up email that confirms the terms of what you just agreed to or understood on the phone. So at least you have some sort of paper trail if there ever is a disagreement about what your agreement was in the future.
Perfect. And then we had some pro tips. So we had mentioned about the SBA actually making payments for you, and then on the previous disaster loans, letting you defer it. But here's a pro tip. You have to manually stop any auto pays. A lot of those loans are set up where, you went in and you gave them your bank account number, you gave them your coordinates, and every month they pull it out. They're going to continue to do that. Even though deferral is allowed, it's not automatic. Okay. So you have to go in and stop those auto pays. Another tip we're saying for the PPP, you want to open a separate checking account. When these funds are dispersed, you want to be able to keep track of it. And what I'm going to do is have them go into a separate, same exact company name, just call it account number 2. Your bank will know how to do it. And the money comes in, you make payroll, you journal it over to your payroll account. You pay a qualified expense, rent or utility, then you journal it over. And then, of course, document. Put a copy of that invoice, put a copy of that payroll run into a file, because I have here, forgiveness will not be automatic. There are going to be some forms which will probably be quite extensive, because they're worried about fraud, right? So they're going to want to, dot every I and cross every T.
And you're going to want to check out, we have another video just on the PPP program where we talk about what are eligible expenses, and the whole forgiveness program in more detail there. So check that one out too.
Right. Now, if you have any questions, hop over to the Facebook forum, the private group. That's where a lot of the, real-time interaction is going to be happening, with our experts and with ourselves. So that's your number one resource. But these videos are going to be posted as questions come in. If more than 2 people have a question, that's a prompt for us to let's get the answer. We don't know everything, but let's research it, get the answer, and record it. So also check the upcoming schedule on the box in the members page. It's going to be our upcoming webinars. We're going to have guests. We're going to have lenders. We're going to have CPAs. We're going to have other businesses. The Zoom meeting is going to be more of an interactive. You can ask questions live in real time, again, with and without some guest speakers and some working sessions. We'll probably post something like, okay, you need to calculate your payroll. We'll do some case studies and walk you through that. So pay attention, look out for that. We'll notify everyone through the Facebook group and through an email. But yeah, we thought we'd quickly just put, what should you be doing right now? And that's why we thought we'd do a quick video.
Thanks, guys. Make sure you keep checking the site every day because there'll be new information, especially the schedule if you'd like to participate in any of the live interactions from Zoom or our working sessions. And we'll be probably adding a lot of new stuff. So check in all the time.
Stay safe, everyone.